Okay, folks, so in an effort for myself to understand this, I'm going to go through a few things here about the highly unconstitutional federal red flag center that the Biden regime so-called wrote into existence just a few days ago. And this is going to be interesting. It's unauthorized, and apparently Congress didn't really know about it either. So we'll see how this goes. But yes, here it is, folks. The left is setting its sights on your guns, America. Well, if we didn't know that already, I would be surprised if there was somebody who didn't know that already. But there are people who are still voting for Joe Biden, so I tend to believe that now. So the left is setting your sights on your guns, America. This is not an exaggeration. It's the reality we're now facing, and it's only getting worse because transforming a country from within gets a whole lot tougher when its patriots are armed. So what's a tyrannical, evil regime to do? Well, naturally, they whip up a handy-dandy center and begin zeroing in on dissenters. And that's exactly what Biden's regime is up to. And remember, folks, make no mistake, this is a regime. And I'm dealing with this light issue here. We'll see how this goes. But yes, this is a regime at this point. If you don't believe communism exists, I'd be shocked, because we are living in something that is a morphing into a fully communist state, because it's militant too. It's not this peaceful, passive socialism we're entering into. It's militant, militant communism. And you can see this throughout all cultural institutions right now, that some of the communist structures are coming through, and they've been in there for a long time, but cultural Marxism is definitely playing a big part. And one of the worst things to have for a regime to have is to have armed citizens. And so we got to really hold on to this. In a blatant drive to transform American citizens into shameful informants for the government's brown shirts, yes, the brown shirts, the Red Guard, what else would you call this? The Cheka, the Stasi, the Gestapo, all these different names of the secret police, the brown shirts, by encouraging them to snitch on neighbors. Now remember, snitching is a core tenet of communist society. That's how communism actually works, is by snitching. And remember, if you don't remember, when I was growing up in my day, I remember, reports coming out of the Soviet Union, because it was the Soviet Union at the time, about how the KGB was like, you must go home and report your parents. Report your parents, report your relatives, report anybody who is spouting anything that seems at all like a defiant pronouncement against the regime. Then you would be in trouble. You would get fired, you'd lose your job, you'd lose money, you'd have your gas turned off, or you'd just go to prison. So anyway, in a blatant, snitching on neighbors, friends, and family, the Biden regime has, without Congress's approval and in complete violation of the U.S. Constitution, established a red flag center. Doesn't that sound nice? That just sounds like such a nice place, huh? This move is aimed at spying on we the people and infringing upon our Second Amendment rights, of course, through the use of civilian spies. It's a ballsy step to bulldoze Americans' constitutional freedoms and disarm us, literally and figuratively. This alarming quote-unquote center is set to be illegally run by Biden's politicized DOJ, targeting anyone viewed as a political dissident. Yes, we are in those times now where we're actually hearing political dissident. We are those people right now, okay? If you believe at all in the Constitution, or you support things like patriotism, which they claim, like the FBI had a list of words that could indicate that you're a political dissident. One of them was patriotism. Yes, it's true. Please go do your research. You will find this. It's on C-SPAN. This alarming center is set to be illegally run by Biden's politicized DOJ. I read that. The same tyrannical and anti-American garbage we've seen time and again for this regime. Congressman Thomas Massie is among those deeply disturbed by this illegal move. He's now exposing this unconstitutional center for exactly what it is. Here's his take on the announcement of this alarming, and let's take a look at this. Alarming and unauthorized new red flag center established by the Biden regime. Thomas Massey says, what the hell is this evil? A federal red flag center? We did not authorize this. Announced, of course, just hours after the omnibus passes. I have my opinions about the legislature piping in on this. That's their job. They should. And going behind the legislature's back to pass unpopular ideas, or I'd say popular ideas with the Democrat regime, is an instance of basically this is unauthorized. But again, what are the politicians going to do about it? Seeing as many Republicans also backed the $1.2 trillion spending bill at 2 a.m, seeing that they supported that, I don't have much faith or confidence in them, and I don't place my confidence in them. It's not a black pill. It's just you can't rely on them. Like, so you gotta look at there's different avenues, but we can't look at our politicians to solve problems for us. So there's other avenues we can take. And I think one of the avenues is you have to do it yourself. You have to be actively involved. Now we have to do this. Okay, it's our job. We sat around doing Disneyland for the last 50 or 60 years, not paying attention that this was being done, and blindsided by people like, well, the deep state. And now it's our job to be vigilant and be actively involved. Okay, like doing this, making videos, sending letters to your congressman. Politicians won't do everything, but it's surprising what they will do by simply sending an email. I'm serious. So the Justice Department launches the National Extreme Risk Protection Order Resource Center. So let's take a look at this. It's always under these banal names, these administrative, highly bureaucratic names that are very mundane sounding, that heavy-handed draconian tyranny is often established, is through banal wording. So here's what it says. The launch of the National Extreme Protective Order Center, Order Resource Center, will provide our partners across the country with valuable resources to keep firearms out of the hands of individuals who pose a threat to themselves or others. The establishment of the center is the latest example of the Justice Department's work to use every tool provided by the landmark Bipartisan Safer Communities Act to protect communities from gun violence, and of course signed by Slimeball himself, Merrick Garland, the eel, the living human eel. So so we saw the close-up already. And so it says here in the article, this is not some small potatoes operation. Biden's DOJ has big plans to disarm as many of you as they possibly can by any means necessary. Breaking. The DOJ will help, with the help of the newly formed National Extreme Risk Protective Order Resource Center, will be working with doctors, district attorneys, judges, and other federal agencies under the guise of mental health to hand over personal information and collaborate on documents which would allow law enforcement the right to confiscate U.S. citizens' firearms and imprison them under the pretense of saving you from yourself, according to the press release. Leave it up to communists to do everything they can to infiltrate based on sympathies and compassion. Okay? That's one of their tactics that they do, is they'll say, well, it's civil rights, it's human rights, and then they'll take your rights away in the meantime. It's pretty underhanded and kind of tricky sometimes, but they often tap into people's emotions by saying, saving you from yourself. Okay? The DOJ, with the help of the newly formed National Extreme Risk Protection Order Resource Center, oh my gosh, will be working with doctors, yada. We read that. Through the center, yes, so they're giving these people, even though we signed a HIPAA agreement, we signed all these agreements, and these people are supposed to be out there protecting our privacy, because that's another law they'd be breaking. is that they are basically coming in and going, we are going to come in as the DOJ. Say you're a doctor and you're sitting there, and the DOJ comes into your office and says, hi, the federal government's here. We would like for you to hand over any information you have on all your patients, all the information you have, to see if there's any problems here where we can actually take away or disarm them. Okay, if you're some random doctor somewhere, what are you going to do? How are you going to feel? What can you do against the federal government? That's pretty intimidating for them, and they know that, and so they're going to use that against you. Unless you have the balls to stand up to them and go, no, then they would probably bring a lawsuit. Then they would probably make your life very hard. Then they would probably bring down the IRS. Do you see? The feds have taken now, not completely, but I would say a big majority, especially the law enforcement branch of the feds, has taken the template from blackmail, the things that they've been doing behind the scenes for years, but now they're coming out with more openly. They're taking that template of blackmail, the mafia template, blackmail, deceit, cyber attacks, intimidation, harassment. They're coming in with all this, and then lawfare, of course, we know with Trump right now. They're going to come with all this power with infinite resources, okay, against a doctor or a judge or a behavioral health provider or a social service provider, okay? And if you don't do what they say, they're going to come after you too. So of course, they're taking the template from pure evil. And the greatest template you can take from, and I know I keep saying this, but I have to underline the point that the communist regime is the biggest example of organized crime in the world. And so they take their template from these guys, okay? And that's what the Biden regime is all about. That's what they're trying to usher in by 2030, okay? What a joyful, wonderful world that will be, huh? The first group, they'll probably target innocent vets, the very ones they've worn down with their endless forever wars. Very good point. Here's what folks online are saying about this dangerous new office, okay? This is illegal and unconstitutional. This was not approved by Congress. Banana Republic. All the typical tropes you hear all the time, nevertheless, are still all true. This will be used to attack innocent veterans. Your lies no longer work. The veil that has hidden your communism, Marxism, and constitutional shredding activities has been lifted. You work for the American people, not the other way around. The time has come for tyranny to be tamed and the U.S. restored to its shining city status. This violates the privacy rights of people, doctor-patient privilege, yes. Remember, though, see, the federal government has these infinite coffers, and even if they don't have the money, they're just printing money right now. They don't care. The U.S. is in an enormous amount of debt. I think over 34 trillion now. Big difference. 34 trillion now. So they're just going to keep printing money. Okay, and that's going to hurt us, of course. It doesn't hurt them at all. If it did, they wouldn't do any of this stuff. This violates the privacy rights. Yes, this violates a couple of constitutional amendments here. Isn't this a HIPAA violation? That's what I said. Crooked Joe's Gestapo DOJ is the most extreme risk to our democracy. My county sheriff has been notified about this federal breach of constitutional rights, and he has informed me that I should contact him. If any DOJ employees contact me, everyone should ask their county sheriff if they will protect them from this criminal DOJ. I think that is one of the best ideas. I'm going to actually highlight that because I think that's crucial. Let's go ahead and highlight that. Okay. What part of shall not be infringed is so hard to comprehend? They don't care about that stuff anymore, obviously. You're the redcoats of our time. Yes, the British are back, folks. No, not the British bands. Not kind of that good stuff, but the crap stuff. The British tyranny is back, and people have just adopted that and reinvigorated it again. And they call this saving lives, right? They'll always pull that. Remember COVID? Remember, they said that too. And look how many people, look at the cancer rates skyrocketing right now, especially in the youth in the UK. They have statistics on this now, so you can actually see this. myocarditis rights. I could go on and on, enough to get banned from YouTube permanently. Anyway, in addition to this new red flag development, really brings home the point of what Elon Musk said in reaction to a poll by a former Democrat. Check this out. Farzad says, I used to consider myself a Democrat. Now I feel like the Democratic Party is very bad, but I still consider myself a liberal. That's fine. I think here's the thing. Be whatever you want. Have whatever viewpoints you want in the United States, whether you deem it the most hateful thing you have ever heard or not hateful or whatever, those views should all be allowed, okay? And it's for me to look at your view and go, well, that's disgusting, and then leave it alone. Just go, okay, I'm not going to read that guy's stuff anymore. That's up to me. But Elon Musk says here, I voted 100% Dem until a few years ago. Now I think we need a red wave or America is toast. And as he said, this guy up here, Farzad, I feel like the Democratic Party is very bad, but I still consider myself liberal. And like I was saying, I got off train a little bit, train of thought there, that liberals, conservatives, they've always existed here in the U.S. mostly. But here's the thing is, mostly there was kind of a general bipartisan support of the Constitution. But remember, communists got in, they started to infiltrate in the U.S. right around the time of the revolution, in October Revolution in Russia. So about 1917, I think? And already, by the time 1921 rolled around, Lenin was saying things like, hey, communism will not succeed if it's just one country. It has to be the entire world. It's a worldwide revolution. So they started infiltrating early on, back in the day. And I highly recommend you read The Naked Communist. It will give you a good understanding. Sometimes communism is kind of it's fluffed up with a lot of complicated jargon and words. But if you simplify it down, it's pretty easy to see that it's just basically stealing and it's organized crime. And if you don't think that the number of millions of deaths in the Soviet Union is not a testament to the failure of communism, I highly recommend you read The Naked Communist. Anyway, so I digress. And of course, in this poll, it says, not me, me too, was never liberal, see results. And let's see, let's get back here. So Elon is right. As they say here, if we don't see a red tsunami come election time, albeit there will be tons of cheating on the side of the Democrats for sure, we're looking at a truly grim reality for the country. Yes, it will be grim. You can hold on tight, but you will have to gird up your loins, man. I hate to say it that way. I don't know any other way to say it. Gird up those frickin' loins, man, because it's going to be grim. And it's going to be grim for a time. And because they're hell-bent on doing the WF's bidding right now, which is, you will own nothing and be happy. You will eat crickets and be happy. You will live in a pod that's 200 by 200 inches. And you will be happy, So we're looking at a truly grim reality for the country. Red flag senators will be the tip of the iceberg. Powered up Dems will come after the American people with all the abusive power of the federal government, showing no mercy whatsoever. Welcome to the latest phase of the Biden regime, the era of the thought police, and they're just getting started. This is ta-da, here it is, the extremists, see, in the right pane here. See this happy family with smiles, eating food and having dinner together and probably having family prayer. Nope, the Orwell's thought police have come in, and I'll tell you right now, Biden's regime loves Orwell. See, they're taking it as an instruction manual. The rest of us are taking 1984 as a cautionary tale. Okay, so it serves dual purposes, remember that. So anyway, I just want to know what you think. Let's see some of the commentary. Let's see, every Democrat is an enemy of the American people. Every Republican that supports them too. Well, yeah. Let's see. Real-time jobs. Oh, that's an ad. Let's see. Simple Mike Johnson didn't even give congressmen the required 72 hours reading time before putting the 1,100-page, 1.6 $7 trillion bill up for a vote. So anyway, that's enough. The comments actually really aren't too interesting. I suppose you could give Democrats credit for being honest enough to admit they hate Americans and want us to be a socialist dictatorship. I think that's just communism. That's just communism. There is no peaceful or passive socialism, nothing like that at all. So, what do you think, folks? I kind of had to rush through that a little bit because I've got a schedule, believe it or not. But yeah, it's crazy doing videos, but I'm trying to do that too. And but let me know what you think. I think it's very interesting. One thing I'm going to do for sure is I'm going to contact my politicians and probably my sheriff too, who is considered a politician because they're voted in. And I'd like them to just be aware of this as well, because I think this is good advice. The sheriff informed me right here that I should contact him if any DOJ employees contact me. Everyone should ask their county sheriff if they will protect them from this criminal DOJ. I highly recommend you send a letter to your sheriff as well and let them know as well, because I believe that most of the sheriffs in the country, not all, but quite a few of the sheriffs still are have pledged oaths to the Constitution and do support the Constitution, especially those ones in Illinois. Boy, they proved themselves. But there are some sneaky ones, but I believe most of the sheriffs around where I am are pretty decent people. And so anyway, thanks for watching, folks, and I will talk to you later.